So this is from a website called trekmovie.com. Big news.
Ooh.
Big news. Robert
Ooh.
Picardo on how the Doctor is deeper in Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Melissa Longo, can you please tell us what's the deal with this rad article?
Well, yeah, actually, I thought it would be a good idea because he has a pretty long quote um, that Lori put in the article that was really great. But
I
it's
could read it.
amazing.
Here it is.
Okay.
Laurie Ulster of Trek Movie, of course. Quote, he started with nothing. The Doctor had an extraordinary arc over the 7 years, and brick by brick, building a character that was quite human-like from something that had no personality or effect at the start. Wait, affect at the start. This much has been said in the press about the show. Starfleet Academy is set in the far distant future in the 32nd century. Starfleet, which basically fell apart in this future tragedy called the Burn, has been
Ooh.
reconstituted. And this is the first entering class at Starfleet Academy in more than 100 years. Wow, that's really cool. And my character is teaching there. And I think that, frankly, at least according to our producer, who we both know well, Alex Kurtzman, he said that seeing the Doctor teach cadets on Prodigy, his exact words, that it made complete sense that he would be teaching cadets in Starfleet Academy in the future. So I really do think that my stint on Prodigy helped that
Helped
door.
open that door.
Helped
Oh,
open that
sorry,
door.
Helped
helped
that
open that
door.
door. I was picturing him being on set, and how they have two people, two PAs, like opening the
Yeah,
doors
yeah.
when he walks out, like, and help that. And he starts walking, someone goes, door, and two people just open the door. Because that was the magic of TV, how they did that. Did I miss anything,
Oh.
Melissa?
Does that
Well,
continue?
there's another quote down below. It's longer.
Oh,
Um,
come
We love a long
on.
quote.
yeah, but I just love how Robert Picardo
Bacardi.
Picardi um loves the EMH and how
Mhm.
his journey with the EMH character has had a wonderful arc itself
Yeah.
in that he didn't want to be the EMH doctor. He wanted to be Neelix, and he had initially turned down reading for the EMH um,
Wow.
in order to read for Neelix, but they really wanted him for the doctor. And wonderful. It's great that they did because he's done a wonderful job with that role.
Yeah. And what a strange squirrely Neelix he would have been too. Like I'm just thinking of like how that would have worked. I feel like he would have been like Neelix but like with edges, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know that.
yeah.
I think he would have been a really cute Neelix, but definitely a different flavor of Neelix, that's for sure.
Definitely a different flavor of Neelix.
I wonder if he would have almost been, and I hope this doesn't come out the wrong way, but it usually does. I I hope I wonder if he would have been
Dangerous.
taken slightly more seriously as a Neelix. Like Neelix, played by Ethan Phillips, he kind of played it a little comedically, a little
Like
silly.
that his Neelix would have been taken more seriously,
Yeah, just
maybe.
a little, because as the writers and as time progresses, they kind of adjust to the actor. And I
Yeah.
wonder if he would have been just a more serious Neelix, like Captain, like
Hmm.
rather than I can't do a Neelix impression. I don't know what he sounds like, but I just wonder about that.
Yeah,
Certainly would have been,
like Ethan Phillips's Neelix has like golden retriever energy,
yes,
and I feel like
Yes,
Picardo's Neelix would not have had that.
would
It
have
would have
been a
been like,
cat.
yes, yes, exactly, exactly. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
Huh.
yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody in the live chat, let us know what kind of animal do you think? Oh, that's too hard. That's too. I don't even know how that sentence ends. Pick an actor that portrayed somebody in Star Trek, and if they played Neelix, what kind of animal would they be? Like,
Ooh,
like
this is such a good
Ethan
question.
Ethan Phillips was a golden retriever kind of
Uh,
Neelix.
Yeah.
Robert Picardo would have been an orange cat kind or a long-haired cat kind
uh-huh.
of Neelix, right?
Uh-huh.
So Jonathan Frakes would have been like a bison kind of Neelix or something, you know? I don't know, maybe that the
Would have been
juice isn't worth the squeeze there, but that sounded
like
fun.
a
Hmm.
bigger, it's like
Okay,
a bear?
Hmm.
A bear Neelix?
banger?
A bear, but like a nice
Oh,
bear. You know, but a little bit like lumbery. Like he
Yeah,
lumbers.
but
yeah.
I see Jonathan Frakes as Neelix as kind of like the Cheshire Cat.
Yes.
Whoa. Good one.
You're very good at this.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
Your Neelix thoughts are
I
on
love
point.
this.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, I want to do another. Okay. Who else? Who else?
Jolene
Come on.
Blaylock.
Ooh.
She'd be cat-like too, but she'd be like a sphinx,
Mm.
like a long,
Yeah.
sophisticated, elegant, like a
Hmm.
serval.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Not a cervix, a serval.
Serval.
Melissa, what's a what do I know that?
You don't?
Wait, what?
Everybody should know that.
I think everybody does. Jenny.
I don't think everybody does is the problem.
I've pet a
Um,
serval before.
They're so pretty.
Yeah,
yeah, they are.
They're
very
so
cute.
pretty, and I love their
Everybody wants to pet a
ears.
serval.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hmm.
so I guess I'll
I
read
keep
this
thinking about this.
quote.
I also really enjoyed how Jonathan Frakes kept thinking about what episode it was
I
through the
love
I
that
love
guy.
that.
He's a true
Yes. That
Trekkie.
was
I know.
great.
You know, he called me
That
out on
was
the
great.
seventh rule. He said, "So are you a Trekkie or a Trekker?" And I had to tell
Oh.
him the truth. I said, "I'm actually a Star Trek dork. I don't identify as
Oh.
a Trekkie or a Trekker."
Hmm.
And I think he looked at me like I was an idiot. He's probably right, but you know, that's how it went.
Oh my gosh.
Here's the quote.
What?
Bob Picardo says, "That was another thing I
Live
thought about
chat is
deeply.
wild. Sorry.
How is he different? What does it mean to be a 900-year-old continuously activated artificial intelligence? What is 900 years of digital memory? Digital memory is not like human memory. If we have a memory from 5, 6, 8 years old and looking back decades of that memory, it's not like having a memory of something that happened a year ago or yesterday. It's digital memory is completely
Ooh.
clear, which means
Mm.
that a beloved colleague like Captain Janeway for the Doctor, you are present in his memory 900 years on as when he was working with you in the 24th century,
That's
right?
so
It's
interesting.
crystal
That's
clear.
so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
He continues, so what does that mean? What does that do to a consciousness? It's seeing 36 generations of organic, Melissa,
Hmm.
colleagues grow old and die around you. It does not necessarily predispose you to making close personal relationships. Let's put it that way. So there's a lot of stuff to think about that's a little
Hmm.
mind-bending, and that's what's wonderful about science fiction to begin with. You have to ask questions that are huge extensions of the questions you have in a single human life. You have to project out and use your imagination. It's well beyond the human experience. And that's both challenging, but also what makes science fiction fun, you know? Really fun. Okay, is this guy like a genius? What's
That's
going on? I can
awesome.
barely read that sentence. He's too
He
smart.
is.
I mean, it's really interesting because
Yeah.
that makes me think about Doctor who I
All
know you
right.
love, but
All
because
right. We were
Doctor Who
having
is,
such a
hang
great
on,
show
bear
and
with me here. Doctor Who is centuries now,
Right.
many centuries old, and
Hmm.
has a sort of similar experience where he's like had, these close relationships and then he moves on and they're long in the
Right.
past, but it's different because I mean, it's not different because he's not a human, but you know what I mean? Like it's a
Right.
different
It's different.
it's a different thing because the doctor can recall in that way. That's so
Well,
interesting.
I think the different thing with the doctor and
Oh, the
Doctor
doctor.
Who as well is that because he is a time traveler, he can go back and
Right.
visit some of his old
Yeah.
friends. So those memories don't get as degraded as someone who has
Yeah.
to live a linear life.
Yes, exactly. So interesting.
So Arg Scott
Ooh.
says Garrett Wong as a Chihuahua. Um, who else? Diana Moldar would be a raccoon Neelix.
Interesting.
Interesting, because she didn't take enough naps, I guess.
And she's like a
Um,
little bit
Ooh.
like this and also a little bit crabby.
Michael
Um,
Dorn, a bear type of Neelix. Yes, Melissa.
Hmm.
Dr. Beverly Crusher would be a fox.
Ooh.
I could see
Yeah.
that.
I think
Uh-huh.
she could
She's
be a
elegant,
fox.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
clever.
Hmm.
clever. Yep.
Do you think a Brent Spiner Neelix would have been
Goofy.
Yeah, right?
He would have he would have
Yeah.
played it funny. He's a
Yeah.
very, very good comedic actor.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
I mean,
he
he's
will
just a
go
funny guy. Like
he
he's
commits.
Yeah.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
will go all the way, and if they say they want a goofy, silly, whatever it is, he's like,
Hmm.
I'll take it to 11. Watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I think about like, coming out of the turbo lift in The Naked Now, that kind of like
I
like
was
that.
picturing that
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Or him on Night Court, very funny. He
Yes.
commits.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny. Yes. Yeah. I think Worf would be a pouty bear,
Hmm.
Neelix.
Hmm. Hmm.
Worf. I mean, not Worf.
Dorn. Dorn.
Dorn. I'm
Dorn.
thinking Dorf.
Scott Bakula would be
Oh,
an Alf kind of Neelix.
an
Oh
Alf?
boy.
An
I don't know
Ha!
if that's
An Alf Neelix hybrid.
Well, yeah, because they like cats. Isn't
Oh
that?
my
Or they
God.
hate cats.
That's
well,
incredible. That is
Alf likes
incredible.
to eat cats.
Yeah, Alf does like to
Out
eat
of
cats.
love. That's a
Of their
No.
different.
flavor, yes.
Out of the love of cooking. Herbert says Colomini would be a lynx type of Neelix. Wow,
Ooh.
interesting.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay. So
Hmm.
that's really good stuff for
Hmm.
Robert Picardo. Really excited. I mean, it seems like such a perfect fit. Oh, and this was on Trek Talks, by the way, as
Oh,
mentioned
nice.
previously.
Hmm.
Right.
So that's
Right.
really cool, making news there.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching that clip. We go live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern with all the latest Star Trek news on the virtual TrekCon channel.